Good morning, everybody. Here, the second day of Codemotion Milan 2017 special edition for our first anniversary. And here with us for the very first time, Justin Cormack from Docker. Welcome, Justin.
Thanks very much. Thanks for inviting me. It's been a really great conference.
During your talk this morning, you talk about Docker, of course, you talk about security. It's quite strange for me to read this topic because usually we are pretty sure that Docker is a very safe way to deploy the code, to deploy our work. So are we missing something? There is something that we need to remember?
I think the thing about security is that it's a process. It's something you have to keep doing. You can't just say, I've done security, now I'm going to go and add new features. And so every day you have to wake up and think, how can I make the security better? Have I updated my containers because there's a new security vulnerability I've just found out about? And so Docker helps you do these things, but it's an ongoing process, and you really have to keep working on security.
Let's keep on talking about security, because security is getting definitely most important day by day. But what is the killer feature, the killer tricks to make Docker safer today?
Well, I mentioned the process, and I think it's really important to work with your team and think about security. The most important thing about security is to kind of understand what the risks are, understand what the worst thing that could happen is, and these things are not specific to Docker, but it's really important that you think about my application. What's the worst thing that can happen? Is it an Equifax type thing where all the data could be stolen from this company, or is it just a little application where the worst thing is an unauthorized user could log in? Just think about those things. Have someone in your team responsible for them. But then containers do really help you because the great thing about containers is that every time you ship your code, it's the same. If you have a problem, you can look and see exactly the version of the code that you shipped and work out what the problems are. There's scanning tools that can help you understand what's in your container and what the security issues are with that, and that's really, really helpful. And so there's a bunch of things that containers really help in terms of reproducibility, understanding what's inside there, not having a minimal amount of code, just what you need to run your application, and not having too much stuff, and being able to keep things up to date by having a nice build pipeline that keeps doing the updates.
Of course. Talking about development, we are in a conference talking to developers and talking about the development of a big open source project could be really challenging. But the field is a sort of playground. What is the most important lesson that you have learned coding for an open source project?
Docker's a huge project. We're one of the biggest projects on GitHub, and it was quite daunting when I started working for it. It's like there's so many people asking you to do so much stuff all the time. I think the important things are to start. When you're starting a new project, start with something that's small that you believe in, that does something useful, and you've got a good point, and then people will start asking you for new bits, and they'll start helping you out, and they'll start complaining about what you've done and telling you. But if you start with something that solves your problem, that's a great start, and that's kind of how Docker started solving our problems, and then we realized that these were useful for other people. I think be patient with people and help them. I mean, I really enjoy just going and fixing people's issues and feeling that someone's got a weird problem. People use things in ways that you just didn't think of when you started your project. That's really great because they discover you can do new things with it. But then they'll find weird issues that you'd never thought of because they're using it a different way, and that's great. And fixing these issues and making it so that your project can be used for a completely new set of things is just so satisfying.
We are really proud to have Docker here at Codemotion for the very first time. But I like to know what's your feeling, what's your hype about this Codemotion and the attendees and the environment. What you feeling this morning?
It's great. I mean, I got here yesterday. It was just so many people. I was like, this is just it's it was my first time here, and it was like, oh wow, there's all these people, and I know one or two of them, and everyone else is new, and I've been meeting lots of nice people, and everyone's doing really interesting things, and it's so nice to come to a city and see that there's loads and loads of people who are really enthusiastic and are learning, and there's been some really great talks, and I've definitely come back again.
Thank you very much. So let's see in the next Codemotion in Rome, in Amsterdam, or wherever in Europe we will be. Thank you for attending. Thank you for being part.
Thank you for inviting me.
See you very soon, and thanks again.